All right. What's up? Good Sunday evening to all you beautiful people out there in the world of YouTube and dividend investing. So, hopefully, this is going to go well. You can see by my backgrounds that I'm not at the Dapper Dividends worldwide headquarters. I am actually in a hotel in East Peoria, Illinois. I'm down here for work. So, the Wi-Fi is not strong in this one, but hey, we're going to give it a shot and we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to need you guys to let me know if it starts to get goofy and lagging, and if it's just a ugly mess, we're just going to quit we're just going to cut bait and get on out of here. But anyway, I'm seeing myself moving. You can hear me, I assume, right? Hold on. Yeah, you can you can hear me. So good to see y'all in the chat. Shamir, Jim, thank you, Jim, for always sending the things you send. I really do appreciate talking with you. And yeah, all you, dude, Amadou, thank you for swinging by. I'll salute you. So in this video, we all love cheap stocks, and I always like looking for those ones that are a little bit less common, kind of like my Next Star Media position is a little bit less common. By the way, had the pleasure of joining Harris Elliott. I'm sorry. He has a couple last names there, and I've never cleared that up with him. Why? What's going on there? But yeah, I was on his podcast yesterday. It'll drop tomorrow morning on Monday, I believe. I hope I didn't spoil that, but but either way, we I got to talk a little Next Star. So I like companies that are a little bit not as well known. And what I'm going to do here, by the way, hello, Kevin, and all you handsome and beautiful people. I know there's a few females out there, but anyway, so what we're going to do here, and there's a link in the description below, is where if you want to do this for yourself and run numbers and play around with things, is at finviz.com. So I'm just going to run through these two fairly quickly. Again, isn't just a buy recommendation off the bat, just to put these ideas out there, kind of show you a way you can maybe get a few ideas of your own. Got to do your own due diligence, build your own conviction, because if you just borrow mine and a stock should happen to drop, if you don't know why you invested and you only invested because somebody else did, then you could get shaken out of it, and then it's going to go back up. And what's up, Dresh? What's going on, man? So here's the thing. The first place, and this is where I got this, was from FinViz. Let me change this here. Put myself down low to make this just a little bit bigger for you guys. All right. So what we did here is on finviz.com. What you want to do is, let me make it even a little bit bigger. There's a whole bunch of different screeners. There's 3 different tabs here. The one I like using is all, because it's just every different screen. I mean, infinite variety. Well, not infinite, but you could put a ton. So just a simple screen I did. Dividend yield, we went over 2%. And then debt to equity, looking for a company that has really low debt to equity ratio. Obviously, debt is those things that you owe, and equity is what kind of like the investors own. It's what the company owns. So if a company has high debt to equity, it kind of means that they're using a lot of debt to run the business, do all those things they need to do to make money, from the way I understand it. And we kind of want to look for lower. It's not always a bad thing and a deal breaker off the bat, but just for the heck of it, we went low. And then really interesting one here, P to S is price to sales. This is how much you are paying for every $1. And I put it out in the newsletter. If you don't subscribe, you would have gotten that information. It's free, fun, fantastic, fabulous financial findings for you every Sunday in your email inbox there. And price to sales is what you're paying for every $1 of a company's earnings. So a 1 would mean you're paying $1 for $1 of a company's revenue or sales. I hope I didn't say earnings there. And if it's under 1, means you're paying less than $1 for every dollar a company earns. Not earns. I knew I was going to do it. In sales, that's just the top line, money coming in the door. Obviously, that's not a be all end all, because if a company is selling if a company is selling dollar bills for 50 cents, probably going to have a lot of sales, but on the back end, on the profitability end, it's going to be terrible. So we just did under 1, and I got 41 total companies that came up. So I went through a few of them, and a couple stood out, which we're going to share you guys right here. First one is interesting. Just two companies I'm going to show you is Ethan Allen. So Ethan Allen, by the way, just changed their name to ETD because their old ticker was ETH, which was creating a lot of confusion with Ethereum, the cryptocurrency. So Ethan Allen changed their ticker to ETD, and they have a dividend yield of 4.72%. What they do, interestingly enough, is home furnishings, furniture, couches, love seats, just dining room sets, kind of like nicer, higher end things. Not getting it from Menards or low store like that, but I love Menards. God bless you people at Menards. So Ethan Allen, they have a dividend yield of 4.72%. Small cap company, only $775 million, currently trading at $30.53 a share. 1932, I think it was when I'll make this a little bit bigger. If you ever want to pause the video, because this is through Simply Safe Dividends, by the way, where I'm starting out. So I'll make that a little bit bigger there and pause the video. We'll scroll down a little bit if you want to. I want to get through these quick. So their dividend growth is currently at 3 years uninterrupted. And clearly, if we go into recession or tough economic times hit, people stop buying furniture. When consumer spending and new home starts, new home building and remodeling, when people stop remodeling their homes, that's going to affect Ethan Allen. So you can see when we had the great financial crisis, they cut the dividend. And then also COVID looks like during COVID times, they cut that dividend. So clearly, if there's anything crazy going on with the economy, there's probably going to cut their dividend. But check this out. I think this is really cool. They're currently paying $1.44 per share. And they have paid special dividends every year since 2018, except for 2020. They suspended the special dividend. But just on the one that was announced a few weeks ago, or that they went ex-dividend on August 14th of 50 cents. If you add that 50 cents to the $1.44, gets you $1.96. And if we divide that by the share price of $30.53, that means Ethan Allen paid a dividend of about 6.4%, I think is what the calculator told me. So Ethan Allen, interesting. You might want to take a look into them, see if it might be right for you. Their dividend yield is a little bit higher, 5% above their 5-year average. And I'm going to be curious to see what you guys are saying in the comments here. From what I'm looking at, I don't have two screens, so I can't see your beautiful, lovely comments, which we'll get to soon. But free cash flow payout ratio, I love looking at, only 39%, jumped up to 69% in 2018, but that came back because they're a cyclical company. They go through their cycles. And sales growth during the pandemic just fell through the floor. But they're buying back shares, 25.6 million outstanding. Good return on invested capital, return on equity, free cash flow margin. So all in all, they look pretty interesting to me, but they have no debt. They currently have no net debt, I should say. No long-term debt, no net debt, meaning that they have more cash and cash equivalents than they do debt. So in their interest coverage ratio, for whatever little debt they do have, they have $591 of operating income to cover every $1 of interest expense. And then for this, before we get off of Ethan Allen, intrinsic value, in case you're wondering, from alphaspread.com, $34.72 on the base case. And then worst case, a little bit overvalued, $26.75. So that's the first one. Ethan Allen, my friends, let us, no, I don't want to do that. Let us know in the comments below what you think about Ethan Allen. And then the second one, everybody, sticking with the home furnishings, we've got Lazy Boy, ticker LZB, 2.48% dividend yield. They've been growing that dividend pretty fast, 10% raise. It's another small cap company. Remember, sometimes small cap companies can be good because they have much more room to grow, I guess, unless you're Apple and you're just a juggernaut. One last thing I forgot to tell you about Ethan Allen that's very interesting. They're vertically integrated, which means that they control the whole process from sawmill to showroom. So they control the whole shebang, which is very interesting. And hopefully that can ease some of the supply chain disruptions and things like that, because they control the logistics from the wood coming in and all the materials until the showroom. But yeah, Lazy Boy, they were founded in 1927. I'm sure you know them. Sofas, love seats, chairs, sectionals, ottomans, sleeper sofas, all that good stuff. And dividend growth, not really good the past 20 years, only 3%, but that's because, again, great financial crisis hit, boom, cut the dividend. And then COVID times hit, cut the dividend. So very similar to Ethan Allen. They're going to probably cut that dividend, and they even suspended it coming out of the great financial crisis. So let's not go past that. 73 cents per share per year is what they're paying for Lazy Boy. And here, this is interesting. I don't know, any of you super sleuths someday, maybe while we're talking here, you can see if you can find out why, but they cut their dividend. They didn't cut their dividend, excuse me. Their free cash flow payout ratio went up to 1,144% in 2022. And that is because the free cash flow per share dropped to 6 cents. The only thing I can really see was I very quickly looked through the numbers, and it just escaped. It just escaped me, everybody, why they, I think they had, goodwill. Their goodwill went up almost 20 million bucks from 2021 to 2022. So I'm assuming they may have bought something, and that's what ate into that free cash flow. But either way, it rebounded kind of pretty quickly there. So Lazy Boy, buying back shares also down to 43.2 million shares, and not too bad. Decent numbers, return on equity, return on invested capital, free cash flow margin could be a little higher. And they have net debt, but they have no long-term debt. I looked in and verified that, but they also have almost as much cash or cash equivalents as they do to their short-term debt. So 13% is really, really low and not anything to sneeze at. So I'm going to get to you guys in the chat as soon as I get a intrinsic valuation on Lazy Boy, because you're probably biting your nails over there and wondering, right, Shamir, what could that intrinsic valuation be? So for Lazy Boy, currently $38.77, probably 25% undervalued. And then the worst case, come on, Wi-Fi, you can do it. Work with me now. Work with me. Use some gum. We may just come back to this. I'll just tell you about it. It was undervalued on the worst case. Oh, hotel Wi-Fi. There we go. $29.80. So about 2% undervalued. Could be about fairly valued for good old Lazy Boy. And just because I'm a goof and I want to see one thing right here with the... They're not going to have it, are they? Where'd you go? I want to get to you guys. Here it is. I went right by the balance sheet decomposition. So what I was talking about right here, they have $345 million of cash and cash equivalents. And then their current liabilities is $438 million. So that is, their whole, or their non-current. So that's the whole shebang. So it's about 13%, right? We're going to go with that. All right, there we go. Ethan Allen, Lazy Boy. What do you guys think? I'd love to know. And I think I'm still here, right? Okay. What do you guys think of those? Would you ever invest in any home furnishing stock? What say you, dear viewer, dear Sunday evening live stream listener? Type something in, for God's sake. Keep me company here. I'm all alone in this hotel room. Actually not. My brother-in-law has a connecting room. He's next door, so not really an investing guy. So I'm taking this time to be with you guys. But oh, dude, yeah. I didn't even say Shamir, I never got back to you. Bob Barker, who a couple months ago, unfortunately, I thought he had already passed. He was one of those people, they're like, when I heard he was still alive and now dead, I'm like, oh, that sucks. But I thought he was dead. Yeah, Bob Barker, rest in peace, 99 years young. And it just goes to show, man, we all, and lady, we all have an expiration date, but we don't know when that expiration date is. So, it's like I've been telling my kids, they don't want to go back to school. And I was like, stop dreading school. They're in high school. I'm like, you don't know when a day is going to be your last. And I think you guys have a long time, but stop making yourself miserable in advance of a scenario or situation that may turn out well. It may be good. What are you guys drinking? Are you drinking anything? Let us know. I'm drinking good old, we won't focus, of course, Sam's Club purified water. It's not Sam's purified water, owned by Walmart, I believe, right? All right. Yeah, Bob Barker, rest in peace. Yeah, Steve, Leggett and Platt with those two others. I think that's why we're seeing a lot of these stocks fall, is that, well, Leggett and Platt, here, put it this way. I'll say this, Leggett and Platt has a lot more debt. I'd love to know if you think I'm off on this, but when companies have a lot of debt, like Leggett and Platt does, like Verizon, like AT&T, pick any company that has a ton of debt. I think they've really been getting hammered by the market because as the rates go up, and it all's dependent on when they're going to have to refinance that debt, right? So it's probably going to be a lot more expensive. I just talked about this with Ryan and Harris about Realty Income. So they just, if you aren't aware, Realty Income, breaking news on Friday, they announced that they took a joint venture stake in the Bellagio on the Vegas Strip, one of the creme de la creme properties with Blackstone Realty, their REIT wing, which is B REIT, ticker BREIT. I think that's too many letters, right? I think there's too many letters. You tell me what it is, you people watching. And MGM Growth, not MGM Growth. They acquired MGM. No, Vici acquired. This is confusing. MGM Growth Properties was acquired by Vici, but MGM, that was the landlord. MGM is still the casino operator, so they own a 5% stake in their casino real estate now. So anyway, the point being, long-winded way of saying is that Realty Income has 6.2 years left on the fixed debt that they acquired at 3.47% interest, but they expect 7.7% return. So right there, that's going to tell you that they got a nice little, 4%-ish, about a 4% spread on that debt. So right there, they're just printing money with that. But when the time comes to refinance that debt, if they still have some outstanding, it's going to all be dependent on where interest rates are. So like Leggett and Platt, AT&T, Verizon, whatever company has a lot, when they need to refinance that debt, whenever it comes due, if they can't pay it off, then it's going to be at a higher interest rate. And that's going to eat into more money that's going to go towards servicing the debt to pay the interest on it instead of reinvesting into the business, buying back shares, paying dividend growth, dividend increases. So I think that's one of the reasons, because Leggett and Platt has a bit of debt that I would like to see them take care of. Yeah, Jim. So Ethan Allen, I'm not saying I'd run out and invest in it, but it's just one to put on your radar. And I'm going to tease. Well, I was going to say Ryan and Harris and Ryan brought up a really interesting dividend stock. And well, there's only 50 of you watching. I'll spill the beans. It was Shutterstock, ticker SSTK. Another company with no long-term debt. Looks really interesting. And let's see. I think the hotel setup, just how dedicated. Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. Like, I was thinking, like, when the dude, I called him to bring in more towels. I was thinking, like, I got a camera, I got the light ring set up. Like, dude's gonna think like somebody's shooting a porno in here. I'm gonna get kicked out. But yeah, yeah, exactly, Jim. So, hey, whatever. I mean, whatever. I'm also hopefully. The plan is tomorrow to do an interview for the next video/YouTube podcast, which is going to come out on Friday with Mike, the dividend guy, Mike Hero. I can't say it. I'm going to try and say a greeting in French to him. It's going to be butchered, but I'm going to be talking with him. That's the plan, according to our plans is the way we planned it. Yes, Jim, it's very possible that that is going on. I won't know. I won't go knocking on doors to check. Yeah, people, and that's a good point. People are always going to need furniture, and I know you see a lot of these closeout cheapy places that you can get cheap furniture. But as I'm getting older, you kind of get what you pay for. But you're right. People are going to need furniture. And the thing with Ethan Allen that could be good, since it is a little bit higher end, is that people at the top of the, so let's use it an expensive word, people at the top of the socioeconomic stratosphere. No, that's not what I want. Class, socioeconomic class. People at the top have higher discretionary income. So even when times are bad, they're probably not going to be scrounging through couch cushions to make ends meet. So if they want new furniture, they're likely just going to go ahead and buy it. So exactly. Pat, do tell us why you don't like the home furnishing business. And by the way, I have no position in either of these. I just wanted to show you guys that, you can use price to sales to try and look for a company that might be a little bit cheap. And again, it's not a be all end all, because as we said, if a company is selling dollar bills for 50 cents, they're going to have a line of customers wrapped around the block waiting to get those dollar bills, but you're losing money on the sale. So, it's not really a profitability metric. It's just knowing what it's kind of like checking the price tag on a stock in a way. So, yes. Okay. What you guys are drinking? I don't know. It's a goofy thing we do, but it's kind of cool to hear. Coke Zero. I'm probably going to have a beer when I get off here. Got Fast Eddie with his iced tea. Yep. Good point, Mark. Yeah, you're right. Furniture is indeed cyclical. And I think we're seeing it, right, with these ones. And while Leggett and Platt didn't cut their dividend because they are dividend king now, right? Yeah, they are a dividend king. I think they just did become a dividend king. Is that, and we'll look here. I'm going to get caught up to you guys, and we'll take a peek at Leggett and Platt at some of their numbers and see if we can figure out why they're getting hammered. But yeah, as we saw with Ethan Allen and we saw with Lazy Boy, when the when the economy went into recession, then they both cut their dividends. So it's to be expected, but obviously the growth trajectory over many years is still up and to the right, and they were still buying back shares. Exactly right, because refinancing that debt, it eats into free cash flow. Yeah, you are 100% right, Shamir, and that's just one thing we should always be cognizant of and be aware of, is that companies, like when debt was really cheap, they were loading up on debt. But now, I mean, if they didn't use that debt very, very purposefully to grow their revenue streams and their just expand their margins, right? Like you said, man, that's going to put pressure on the debt. So this is why debt is really important, and it has to be used wisely, even when it's really cheap, because you don't know when interest rates are going to go back up. So that's why it's at least kind of nice to see that Ethan Allen and Lazy Boy have no long-term debt, and Lazy Boy does have a little bit of net debt. Yeah, the markup on furniture. I didn't get to that fast, Eddie. I would assume it's a little bit higher because, the way I view it, on the very kind of on the low end is grocery. That's why, like, Walmart is really interesting. They do a ton of volume, but the margins on grocery, from what I understand, are just razor thin. But we're going to have to, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I looked at myself. I just had a weird moment with you guys that I got my phone there and I looked at it. I was like, hey, I know that I'm on YouTube. Look at that. I just started watching. But anyways, what were we talking about? Oh, the margins. Yeah. So if you're in grocery, you got to do a ton of volume to really make that worthwhile, which Walmart does. And I think they're the number one, right? Because I was just thinking about how Albertsons and Kroger are trying to push that through. And even if they do, I think they'll still be in like the number 4 spot, even though, they combine forces. And I think the best margins, right, are Microsoft. If you create a digital product, I mean, that's very low overhead on that. And just also thinking about like AT&T, I used to think it was so cool. And this is a lesson for me, dude, when in dudettes with all you people, when I would see, that's a good point, Mark, that I'm going to get to, but when I would see the AT&T trucks driving around, I would drive around. I'd be like, dude, I'm like, there goes another AT&T store. I'm like, yeah, there's another Verizon store. I own those. And now I'm like, oh, those are costs to the business. They are capital intensive, and it makes it a little bit difficult to like rapid fire grow the business. So it's actually, I think, a drag on the business where like Microsoft, they don't have that. I mean, that's why they have super, super high margins for them. So I'd like to hear this. Mark used to work near the furniture market in High Point, North Carolina. They hire and lay off so much, hard to keep up. It's a great point. And this is why I love bringing stuff to the community, whether it's through live or through the recorded videos. And you guys can drop your thoughts in the comments because they are very valuable. And like I said, you know, we're helping each other to become better investors together. And if I say something that's wrong or incorrect, or you want to challenge me, I highly encourage anybody to critically, what's that word I was looking for? It is not when you're a jerk about something, when people are like, you suck. I'm like, yeah, okay, that does nothing. But when constructive criticism, when people constructively criticize, that can be very, very, very valuable. So I really love that. So always, please feel free to constructively criticize anything I say or do. It will only help make you or myself better, and we can talk about it. AMC's giving dividends. I did not know that. Why are they giving dividends? Do you guys want to look at AMC real quick? Yes. Oh, you know what, Travis? Hey, Travis, you just reminded me of something. We're going to jump back over to Simply Safe, and we're going to go through some news real quick. But remind me, Travis, remind me. I'm going to get caught up into the comments here, and I will say, because I hate being so far behind when I ask a question and you guys, you know, you answer it and I get to it like 10 minutes later. Two of the wealthiest brothers, you know, got started running furniture to New York City and selling huge markups. Yeah, so I think we were saying, right, then that furniture, and that's kind of like what Target's seeing, right? So Target has a lot of discretionary items. Discretionary means you can buy it if you want it. You don't need it, you want it. And if you want it and you have the money, you buy it. Where consumer staples are the stuff you need to put clothes on your body, food in your belly, and a roof over your head. Those are the things you need to buy. It's kind of non-negotiable. Unless you're a meth head. A lot of meth heads would probably tend to argue that food is optional and personal hygiene is optional from what I've seen. Unfortunately, people have these problems, but with Target, they have a lot of discretionary items. So when times are tough and, you know, wallets are tightening up, people aren't going to spend as much on TVs and laptops and lawn patio furniture and, you know, desks and air fryers and things like that from Target. So when people are buying, that's awesome because there's higher margins on those. So you get more money. And we could talk about Target in a minute too. So let's talk to Jim. People aren't going to invest in Ethan Allen until the housing market. Yeah, I agree. And, you know, Jim, that's a good point. But do you think that this means it could be a good time to invest before things start to recover? Because we never know. I mean, obviously it could get worse, but I would like to know that. What's up, my man, Cody? I'm still here. I'm still in Illinois. This is my hotel room in East Peoria, Illinois. I won't read that out loud. You can read that for yourself. Not up to date on the industry. Energy and real estate. Yeah. Realty income. Are you guys still buying? Talking about interest rates, messing with stocks. REITs. All the REITs have been getting hit because the interest rates go up. The risk-free rate goes up, meaning the yield you can get at a risk-free rate, because the risk is the U.S. government not paying, which is very, very small because they can print money. But either way, which I think that would be a net negative, right? If the government prints money and you have a bond, they're devaluing the dollars that they're paying you. So that's going to just put more money in circulation, increase the dividend, increase inflation and make the money you're receiving from those bonds, especially when they reach their par value, I think it's called. I'll make them. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Let's see. Yeah, I had to get out of town, man. Is this the witness protection program, man? Yeah, debt is going to be a huge factor from here on out. Yeah, good. You know what, Greg? Dude, I love it, Greg. That's a great point, and I think that really does highlight why we should be focusing on companies that have lower debt, or you know what? Even when looking at when the debt is maturing, and if this sounds like a lot of work to a lot of you guys, then just SCHD it, VOO, SPY, VIG, pick one of the ETFs that we all know and love, and you won't have to worry about it. But for those of us that like the challenge and want to identify these good businesses, good companies, then I think, Greg, that's a very, very solid and valuable point. I don't know who that is. Well, Cody, I haven't even seen him, my brother. So, well, I told you guys, it's getting better. You can't see, but remember, I was too high on the long hair because I cut it myself. So I've been growing out down a little bit, and it was sticking out. It's almost laying down. It's getting there. All right. Hey, Bill, man. I don't think we've talked before. I don't recognize your name. So thank you for swinging on by and spending a little bit of time in my hotel room with me. Hey, now. Peaky Blinders. I'm going to have to watch that then. I think I know the guy. Isn't Peaky Blinders the dude that was Scarecrow in Batman, right? And I don't know why I do this. Maybe that's how I think. It's better than the Bill Clinton doing this. Isn't Peaky Blinders that guy? Yeah. Terrible. Hey, Zach Attack. What's up, man? Got out of stocks. Oh my God. All in on crypto and some Ethereum. Well, that ties into ETH. ETH has that ETH.x, if they wanted to. But yeah, Ethan Allen was ETH, their ticker. And it was just so much confusion that I guess they just got tired of all of it and just went with ETD. That's interesting, man. So you're bullish on crypto, huh? I hope it works out. Yeah, I got burned by Celsius, and I don't know. We're not going to get into crypto on this, but yeah, Williams-Sonoma. That's interesting. What do you guys think about Williams-Sonoma? They had mixed earnings. I thought their earnings were it was okay. If I could sum up Williams-Sonoma's earnings from what I saw is that the money they're bringing into the company fell, but they engineered, and I don't want to say financially manipulated, but I guess it is. They were they're really well managed. So even though they are bringing in less money, and I think they lowered their revenue guidance, they still expanded their margins and are showing that they are more profitable. So that is a testament to management. But as why the almost 14% pop in one day, I'd love to know what you guys think about that. If there's a reason why they, yeah, good one, Michael. Credit cards, those indeed are very, very healthy margins. Yeah, no, my buddy, I'm in again, if you guys are just joining in, I'm for work. I'm in a hotel room, so brought the camera and my equipment because I'm a lunatic, and I really enjoy meeting with all of you guys. It's cathartic for me. Love hearing what you guys are thinking. What are you buying? Put on the screen what you're buying. I won't throw up on the screen, but I will put on the screen some of what you fine folks out there are buying. Dude, spoons are worth millions of meth heads. Yeah, exactly. What did that saying say? I don't remember the comedian. Maybe somebody will remember, but he said, he gave to a meth head. He was going to pay him in meth or no, he gave a meth head will cut your grass with scissors in 20 minutes for $20 or something. It was just, I don't remember who that was. I'm not a comedian. So that's just, AMC's dividend, Eddie. We'll look at that. I think that's it. That's insane. That's unsustainable. I think theaters are just. I think theaters are a melting ice cube. There's going to be some that will always remain because I don't know what it's going to look like in 20 years. But yeah, I don't know where they're going to pay that from. That gets an eyebrow raised from this dividend investor here. Oh no, I hope not, man. Hey, we have consumer protections that come in place from that. He's making a reference to the last podcast I did. Only in the mind of this guy can I somehow tie in, negativity surrounding a stock to potential buying opportunities. And I did that by telling the story of in 1982 when Tylenol, which was owned by Johnson and Johnson, had a bit of a dark period there, and somebody, it was unsolved, we don't know who, they apparently bought Tylenol bottles, opened them up, filled them with cyanide, closed them up, filled the tablets with cyanide, put them back on the store shelves, people bought them, and fortunately 7 people in the Chicagoland area lost their lives in the matter of less than 2 days, and it was just awful. So yeah, Shamir, I'm looking to buy some more realty income as well. Long term, I think they're going to be okay. I think they are a fantastic company, kind of the gold standard of REITs. I know some of you may argue with that, but I think they're very well managed and they're just looking for new ways to expand. So putting your faith in Sumit Roy, the CEO and the company he runs. Yeah, Vici and O. Interesting, Bob. Do you know that Vici passed on the deal to get into the Bellagio to take an ownership, not own it outright, but to take a joint venture ownership stake? So very interesting that CEO Ed Petoniak, who I really do like, passed on that and said, nah, we're good. We're good. I'd love to buy a more around 56, 55. Good to know that I'm not crazy. That's Chili. I don't know how to say his name. I know it's Killian Murphy. Peaky Blinders. Well, there you go. We're going to bring this hairstyle back. I've heard it's called a Viking hairstyle, I guess. Let's talk to Shamir. Doesn't really follow Wilson on. Yeah, that's one of course. I think it's going to start to come back again. I don't know what was going on, if it was just a bunch of. Although, when did it pop? Did it pop on a Friday? Was that the third Friday? Did we just have options X? So, right, I think the options X date is the third Friday of every month. And then some of them are what they call the quadruple witching, which I don't really remember what that is, but the third Friday. So I think what it is there are a lot of stocks that have weekly options contracts that are sold, but a bulk of them, like Realty Income, is monthly, and they always expire on the third Friday of every month. So they call it options X. And then I don't remember what the quadruple witching is. Some of you guys might want to talk about. Another new dude. Oh, dude, look at this. He's got Mega Man down there. Fantastic. Fantiddly-tastic. You got Mega Man playing a flying V. That is just, that's awesome. But let's see. Thanks for watching the channel. Content approach. 125 shares of O. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be 2024, but I will say as soon as we get not even a pause, but as soon as we get our first, I think, rate cut, once the Fed starts cutting, I think that's when confidence is going to return to the REITs and especially to Realty Income, and especially when they keep raising the dividend, which I expect them to through this whole period of people crapping all over the REITs and not wanting them. But it's understandable because a lot of people want that risk-free money, and every equity, never forget this, every single equity, meaning stock, is risky. I don't care who they are. Any black swan thing can happen, like happened to Johnson and Johnson in 1982. So every equity is risky, but some are on the lower end of the risk spectrum. And obviously your Procter & Gamble's and Johnson & Johnson's are the lower end, but still riskier than bonds are. So yeah, when the rates went up, it just it's like a vacuum, man. It just sucks a lot of money away from the mostly REITs and utilities, because those are considered safer, because real estate always in demand, and the utilities, companies like Southern, Duke, they have it's a regulated utility, so they're like a near monopoly. So, but again, still in equity, and you can see nothing is completely risk free, like we saw with Hawaiian Electric, HE, right? Crazy. Company's been around since the 1800s and looks pretty stable. Bing, bang, boom. And all of a sudden they cut the dividend and the company, maybe facing bankruptcy. So again, anything can hold up. I think, Bob, what is that? MasterCard you're building up? I'm still not cut up. Cut up? Cuts you up. Peter Murphy. Love that song. Nobody, not one of you is going to know this song without looking it up. Cuts You Up by Peter Murphy. And that's the way I like it. Time for some big tech stock splits. Who do you think is going to be the next big talk? Big talk? Got to be careful there with those words. You don't want to throw a C in there. Who's going to be the next big tech split, do you think? I'm waiting for PepsiCo too. I think they should. A lot of people, dude, it would be, that's the thing. A lot of you newer investors out there, never be fooled by a stock split. It's just taking a piece of, if you have a pizza and it's cut into, 4 pieces, and you just cut it into 8 pieces, it's still the same pizza. It's still the same size. So it's just less of an amount. So I don't know. What's the other analogy? Taking $1, cutting it into 4 quarters, you still have $1. So that's kind of what stock splits are. It still adds up. All the new shares add up to the same that it was when it split. Okay, you people. The theaters will be where the drive-ins went. Hey, I could see it, and I don't know if we'll ever, but we'll still have some unique ones. I think there'll still be some outstanding, but yeah, I really don't go to the theater that much. It's Fast Eddie. Your wife is less than 4 years from retirement. Hey, this is going to be interesting then. What I'm going to talk to Mike, the dividend guy, about. Mike Hurrah. I can't say his name like he does, but yeah, I want to talk to him because the hook is going to be that he's fire, but he's against fire, kind of like anti-fire. He doesn't like the word fire. So that's what I want to dig into with him and just show you guys there's another way. I got to get cooking here, guys, if we're going to get to the news. Stop going out of focus. All right. Purchased T. Rowe Price, Realty Income, Enbridge. Pat, you did. Very nice, Pat. I'll probably be buying some more. Smoking went up during the pandemic. Hey, that's a good one. What do you call it? The Sin stocks. They didn't do too bad, right? Oh, no, I take that back. The casinos had to shut down. That was a weird one. Restoration Hardware. Yeah, Uncle Warren didn't sell it, right? No. I was trying to think what he did sell. He sold Vitesse. I should know because I just did this, I enjoy doing those little videos. Is that, dude, when they do it, I run to the computer, I do that little spreadsheet, update it, quick video. It's something real fun and easy to put together for you guys. Oh, Shamir. Yeah, it's okay. Everybody's got to be new and start somewhere, but it's a nice hotel room. What are you going to do? Hilton. HLT, right? Hilton Worldwide Holdings, I think. All right, we're going to get to some news here from Simply Safe Dividends. Steve, thank you for sharing this. As a result of the litigation settlement, AMC will pay a 13% stock dividend. Dude, thanks for that legwork, man. This is why I love you guys. I really do appreciate that. You get the big thumbs up for sharing that. I hope you're right. You could have just made that up. Frank, CubeSmart, they're good. I think they are, I don't remember what percent of the market share they have. I know now that Extra Space Storage is the biggest after they finally merged with Life Storage. But CubeSmart, I had held them once upon a time and I sold them to, I believe that's when I started, not when I was buying more Life Storage. I think I just sold them to buy more Realty Income. So I think they may have done a little better if I would have just stayed with them, but I really wanted to build out realty income. So put that there. And Tyrone Floss, what's going on, man? You are Tyrone Floss. Thank you. And once again, all right, we're going to get some news here. Jim, yeah, let me know if that's true. That's pretty cool if I remembered that. But yeah, I thought I saw that they sold Restoration Hardware. The guy knows. He's got his finger on the pulse of the market. All right. Before I forget and it gets any later, I want to give you guys the quick, Steve, especially for you, the news from Simply Safe. All right, here we go. All right, come on, guy. Share your screen, buddy. You can do it. You can do it. What is it? You're my boy, Blue. No, you can do it. That was Waterboy, yeah? All right, here we go. Here we go, everybody. We're going to go to the latest tab. I usually have this set up. And 22. I think we're over here. So, 24th. Lamb Research, ticker LRC. I'll make this bigger for you. Get all in one shot. Some of you ain't got such good eyesights. They raise their dividend 16%. They do semiconductor stuff. How do I know that? Because it says right here, semiconductor equipment supplier. Yes, I can read. That's the hard-hitting analysis. Go away. I bring to you on this program. All right. So they raise their dividend to $2, $4, $6, $8 a year. And how do we know that? My God, because $2 a quarter times 4 times a year is indeed $8 the last time I checked. Thank you, Cook County, for that education in math. Altria, there's the one you were talking about, raise their dividend 4.3%. Yeah, that's about what I was expecting. They don't really do big dividend growths. That wasn't proper English. Almost a 9% yield. I may pick up a few more shares of Real Chat Income. Very interesting. This is something we were talking about. 3M, their dividend was downgraded to unsafe by Simply Safe Dividends. Again, this is simplysafedividends.com. This is their opinion. And I've been saying, I think they're going to take a page out of AT&T's playbook by... So what they'll do, what companies will do is if they spin off a segment, then that segment keeps paying the dividend. If you add those two dividends back together and it's the same or more than pre-spinoff, then they don't consider it a cut. But like AT&T spun off Warner Brothers Discovery, they were not paying a dividend. AT&T said, well, they're about $20 billion in revenue went out the door, so we're reducing the dividend. It was a dividend cut because Warner Brothers Discovery didn't pay a dividend, does not pay a dividend, and AT&T reduced the dividend, so it's a dividend cut. I think 3M is going to do something similar. I'm pretty sure that the consumer health, which they're spinning off soon, is going to pay a dividend. But I think 3M, when they reduce the dividend, and this is going to be fun to keep an eye on, when you add the two together, I don't think it's going to equal the current dividend of 3M right now. So I think that's what a lot of people are also thinking, and that's going to be, I think it's going to be a cut. And then lastly, Campbell Soup acquired the parent company of Rao Pasta Sauces, which I don't remember what Rao makes. I just want to see right here for our own, poops and grits. Hey, I was reading that. They, Sovos brands. I don't know the Sovos brands. Do you guys know Sovos brands? Oh boy, here we go. Now this is good. All right, everybody, strap in. We're going to read 25 pages of the investor presentation. Here we go. Oh, that's right. They own Noosa Yogurt. So there you go. You got Sovos brands that's going to be joining the Campbell's family. Michelangelo. Wasn't he the bass player for... No, Michael Anthony. That was the bass player for Van Halen. Okay, enough of this. Enough of you. That was the news right there. People, what did you think of that? I'd like to know. So, I love this part. We're in the deep end. I'm going to steal that from two chaps called Colin and Samir. The end of the show is the deep end. Let us know if you're forever frugal and how forever frugal you are. Yeah, 3M, dude. Do you guys think that 3M is going to be cutting that dividend? It's going to be interesting to watch. And this is what I'm always going to love as an investor. And the cool thing, I want to tell you guys something. I'm working at a joint called Haggerty Steel down here in East Peoria. And Thursday and Friday, we were in the sun. I tweeted it out, I think 124 degrees on my dash, on the truck dash. It was brutal. It was awful. But I'm not going to be doing that when I'm 70 years old. The beautiful thing about this, right now, I'm just processing information, talking to you guys that we're all part of this community I love. And I'm pretty dang sure that I can still be talking and typing and doing this when I'm 70 years old. I don't know where it's going to go. Maybe I'll be sick of YouTube by then. Who knows? But, oh, really? You're glad you got a Campbell's Coop? Why? Campbell's Soup. Why? Why? Oh, dude. Okay. Rouse is tasty. Good. So, first of all, Grove Dwayne or Dwayne Grove, dude, thank you so much for the $5. But for those of you that are new and you guys that are been with me for a while, you know what I'm going to say. First of all, I'll give you a chair spin. We'll give you a Hilton Hotel Embassy Suites official chair spin. But I'm going to tell you this now. I thank you so very much for that. But especially with you opening a custodian account for your daughter, I would much rather have you give that money to your 14-year-old daughter. I would love to return this to you to contribute to her account. I mean, you guys, please, you don't have to give your money to me. If you feel you must, if it's an absolute necessity and you're not going to be able to sleep at night because you're like, oh my God, I should have given Russ some money. Maybe that, okay, but please, like, your viewership, your views are enough for me. Give that money to charity, to loved ones, put it in a kid's account. If, by all means, please. So thank you so very much for that. And focused on dividends, that's very cool. But I will also say, don't neglect growth just because they're so young. And this is something I'm going through with my daughters. By the way, I have a 14-year-old too. She will be 15 in December. And I have a 15-year-old who will be 16 the end of next month. And we went heavy into dividends, but we also did pick them up some Apple, which is very, very small dividend payment, but Tesla and a few others that we're going for growth. We're going for growth because they have a lot of time. But then the flip side, and I'd love to know what you guys think here, is that if the company will keep paying a dividend, it's going to grow. If they have a really stout compound annual growth rate and you're reinvesting those dividends, then we see what that can do to stocks like Johnson & Johnson, which we had just talked about. So yeah, man, that's fantastic. Good on you for doing that. I also opened up the custodian account when we got the stimmy checks. We took every penny of that for our daughters and opened up custodial accounts for them. So thank you again, man. So very kind of you for doing that. Yeah, really appreciate that. Okay, moving on. Long-term 3M will be fine. Yeah, I think Rohit, I hope that's how I say it. 3M's going to be okay, but dude, those, especially the litigation. I mean, the business isn't doing so hot even without the litigation, but the litigation is just, that's why I ended up selling out. It was just too, Trevon, that's a good point, man. Sometimes I think about that. And this is something you may see on the channel, and I don't know what's going to happen, but our house, as we've talked about, is from the early 70s. We did a remodel about 11, 12 years ago. But that stuff, dude, we've had 2 kids. We have, cousins and nieces and nephews and just lots of kids, lots of parties. The house has been terrorized by children growing up. But now we have teenagers and they just, I always say, as long as they have their phone, an outlet, and a chair, that's all they need. They'll be okay. So we're looking at a lot of remodeling, and we may have to use a chunk of our taxable dividend portfolio we've built for that. So I've often thought, like, what if we were to just wipe it out, put all that money into the house, which we'll end up getting back when we sell, right? How would I build that up again? So that's kind of a cool thought. Like, and sometimes starting over is a good decision because Like I shared with AT&T and T and Verizon, like I would do it differently again. I would not invest in them because that was a little bit of a yield chase on my part. And something I learned the hard way is that they are both very, very capital intensive businesses and highly competitive. And I think when you look at T-Mobile that doesn't pay a dividend, it's kind of giving them a little bit of an advantage to reinvest into their business and to maybe offer some better deals and things like that to improve sales. So won't get into that, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Kevin, diamond handing the 3M stock. I still have exposure inside of mutual funds and SCHD for now, which it could get the boot from SCHD. My opinion on ROK, I real quickly here, let me see. Do you guys know what ROK is? Is that Rockwell Automotion? I don't know. My screen's freezing up here. I think it's Rockwell, right? They are, Rockwell Automation. 1.5% dividend yield, dividend safety score of 70, and they have 10% 20-year CAGR. I know I'm not showing this, but we could look into them next week maybe. But actually, just from the 5-second analysis, it looks pretty solid. I would need to do a lot more. And that would be interesting, if and when 3M cuts the dividend, what are you going to do? Would you buy it then? I assume, man, a lot of funds would have to sell, right? Just look at just SCHD. When there are so many ETFs that are predicated on dividend growth or dividend king ETFs or like Noble, NOBL, or, maybe institutions that have some kind of thing where they invest, you know what I mean? So I think if they cut the dividend, and that's kind of also, I think, what happened to AT&T, they're going to get booted from a lot of funds. So that's going to be more money being sucked out. But yeah, it could be a good buying opportunity then if you do believe in them. Dude, is Disney going to be paying that? I don't know for sure. I didn't read that. I know they talked about at the end of the year doing that. Wait, Doors. Did you say Door? Oh, that's why you're asking. Yeah. I don't know their brand though. Their brands. What? I don't know if you know that guy. I'm looking right now to see. I don't see any name brands. Hey, they're headquartered in good old MKE. Yeah, that's one I'll have to look into. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive on that. Maybe. All right. Holy crikey. Dividend could help the stock. Yeah, they're facing headwinds. They're starting to have a brand issue. And as we learned with maybe with AT&T, but with Johnson & Johnson back in the early 80s, that one of the most important and critical things for a business is trust with the consumer. Whatever their business, product, service, you have to have that trust. Yeah, Disney, who do they have that with? They have they split Hulu with, isn't it the other Universal, which is Comcast. I think Comcast and Disney have a partial ownership of Hulu. So you're right, they could, but I think they would have to sell. Let's see. The Big Short. Dude, Jim, I can't believe you remember that. I still haven't watched The Big Short. I'll get to it one day. Just keep bugging me on it. Keep bugging it on it. Rohit, thoughts on Graco? I have not looked into Graco. You know what? I highly regard what Kevin says. So if Kevin is going to give it a thumbs up so far, then I'm guessing, because we kind of have a lot of the same thoughts. I'm assuming that I would like it too, but that's just one I haven't looked into. There's so many good ones. 3M could also buy back. Exactly. Well, we'll see. I think this is the fun. Get this, check it out. And I might be part of it too. If and when 3M cuts the dividend, like within, I would say, we'll say within like 3 hours of them announcing the dividend cut, you're going to see at least probably 50 YouTube videos or shorts about the 3M dividend cut. So, by the way, interestingly enough, kind of in a different direction, I saw that Professor G did a video on SCHD laying off lots of people and are they in trouble? From what I understand, no, they're not in trouble. It just finally finalized the deal with TD Ameritrade, or right? TD Ameritrade or TD. So they're bringing that in-house. Yeah, like Thinkorswim, TD. I think, is it Ameritrade? Why can't I think of that? Sunday night, guys, Sunday night. But anyway, they're bringing in they acquired a lot of people and they don't need them. So it's just part of the restructuring. So don't freak out. Don't buy into the hype that, a lot of people are being laid off from Schwab. But it's just part of the trimming the fat, restructuring from the deal. And interesting, I don't know, is it forcing or was that part of the contractual agreement? So I think it might have been part of the contractual agreement from what I remember, if memory does serve. But we know how that goes. So, oh, dude, thank you. Thanks, Greg, for helping this guy out right here. By the way, don't go yet. Just got this from the library. Let's try and, I don't know if you guys know who Guy Spirit. Come on, work with me, computer. You're not cooperating. You can see it. This is impossible. Education of a Value Investor by Guy Spear. Got it from the library. Going to read this one this week. For those of you that are my age and or wrestling fans, I texted my guy Harris. I just saw that Hulk Hogan was on Joe Rogan Experience. That's not investing related, but I think I want to end these. I listened to the Compound and Friends podcast, and that's where Guy Spear was a guest. Check out the Compound and Friends. You got from Ritholtz Wealth Management. You got Josh Brown, Michael Batnick, funny guys, have on big names like Guy Spear. And at the end of the podcast, they talk just something not investing related, like what's something on TV they're watching, what is just something they're enjoying or looking forward to or doing previously or the coming week that's not investing related. So, which that is, but Hulk Hogan on Joe Rogan. I'm going to listen to it tomorrow while I'm working, amongst other things. And yeah, there you go. A lot of people like wrestling. I'm not a wrestling fan, but I grew up in the 80s and I was a wrestling fan as a little itty bitty baby cheerings back then. So, all right, guys. So I'm going to end with you, Guy, saying that Schwab bought only Ameritrade. Yeah, they didn't. That sounded confusing. They didn't buy Toronto Dominion Bank, TD. They bought Ameritrade from TD, right? I think I got that right. And love Schwab, bought more shares. Interesting. Okay, you guys, I love it. Thank you for spending a little time with me in the hotel here, making it a little bit more palatable being away from family and whatnot. So even though I got my brother-in-law in the next room because we work together, so at least we don't have to share a room together. Good on my company for that. But I do thank you guys. Always thank you, Grove, for the money. Don't do it again. Give it to your daughter. I got nothing else. Have fun this week. Good luck with everything you buy. I'll be back next Sunday. Talk to you guys again. Swing on by. If you have any ideas for something you might want to chat about, let me know. And as always, I love you guys. Thank you for stopping by and listening. And I will talk to you next week. So long, everybody.